Everyone, I was told that it would be a good idea for us to give the presentation in French, so we shall do that. But if you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask your questions in any language. We will answer regardless. My name is Hyeon Kim Vanguers, and I'm the National Coordination Point in the Brussels Capital Region. And I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm very happy to also answer the call from the French Embassy and Nathaniel Ackerman. It's always a pleasure to contribute to the week of AI. And I'm here with two colleagues. So Marion Perrin, who's my direct colleague, she's the point of contact for digital industry in space in the same program, and Pascale, who is the point of contact, Pascale Massiani, who is the point of contact in France for the ERC. So we're going to try and give you an idea in a couple of minutes about the program, which is a very ambitious program. It's the 9th framework program for research and innovation. It's called Horizon Europe. It's for a green, healthy, digital and inclusive Europe. It covers a period that spans from 2021 to 2027. It was launched last year. We were a little bit late, but it follows on the heels of the 8th framework program, which was called Horizon 2020. And you might have already heard about it. So here you are. Horizon Europe, the budget is 95.5 billion euros. So it is what makes it the biggest research and innovation program in the world, at least the one with the biggest budget. So here you can see the overall structure of the program. It is based on 3 pillars. Science, so excellent science, global challenges and European industrial competitiveness, and innovative Europe. And to, the previous presentation that we just had has to do with pillar 3, so innovative Europe. The EIC is there to really encourage all forms of innovation. So in there we have the EIC, but we also have other elements, and there is a really strong wish to bolster the European landscape of innovation ecosystems. And we also have the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. As for me, since we're lucky to have Pascale with us, Pascale is going to talk mostly about the first pillar, excellent science. And so therefore I shall focus mostly on pillar 2 with Marion. Marion, who will mostly focus on the digital industry and space aspect, since if you're here, it's probably because you're interested in opportunities that can be seized in terms of funding through this program. So you can see that this structure really reflects our ambition within the EU to work further in science, on science, and to also deal with global stakes, including sustainable development goals for 2030, and to reinforce the technological and industrial capacity within the EU. So there is also that horizontal activity, transversal activity, that aims at reinforcing the impacts of the European research environment as well as its attractivity, or attractiveness. So the idea is to help knowledge circulate, to help researchers go from one country to the next as well, and to promote European values in terms of gender equality, ethics, research integrity, and so on and so forth. So this is the structure of the problem. In pillar 2, as you can see, we have 6 clusters that cover all global stakes, or the 6 major stakes for the world. I hope you can read everything. The first cluster has to do with health. Second cluster has to do with culture, creativity, and inclusive society. The third cluster is about civil security for society. The fourth, that Marion will tell you about, is called digital industry and space. Climate, energy, and mobility is the fifth, and the sixth is food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and the environment. And in that second pillar, you also have the activities of the Joint Research Center. So that's mostly it. A framework program covers different instruments, different work programs as well. So just heard the the plan for the EIC for 2021-2022, and those work programs follow a strategic framework. So the first strategic framework for the program for the first 4 years from 2021 to 2024. And the idea is to really stick with the main priorities of the EU, i.e. green transition, digital transition, social issues, getting out of the COVID crisis as well, all that by 2030. And it is really through those work programs that you will find opportunities, because regularly there are calls for projects that are issued in the or through the different parts of the program with different instruments for each different date of opening and closing of the calls for proposals. And so yeah, it's you can find a lot of different opportunities in different parts of the program structure that are going to be launched throughout the next 7 years. So that's it for the program. Same as in any program, there are some rules as to who can participate. Of course, anyone and everyone can participate. Any entity, any legal entity can participate. So anyone who has a legal identity can participate in the program. In most calls for projects of the second pillar, that aims at encouraging a systemic approach and international collaboration, you need to be interdisciplinary, work with several sectors. We try to look for research and innovation in different sectors. We want to make sure that the proposals are submitted by 3 partners, at least in 3 different countries, and at least one of the partners has to be in one of the member states of the EU, or at least a country that is associated to the EU. The list of associated countries is available. I think we have like 10 associated countries and 6 countries that are about to be associated as well. And other countries may become associated with the EU in the coming years. So those are processes that are time-consuming, of course. And beyond member states and beyond associated states, any country in the world, so long as it's not under European sanctions, can participate in the program. So RIA and IA are actions, research and innovation action, and innovation actions. That's a bit of a jargon for us, but so IA is mostly about collaboration and less about research. So these are the rules for participation. To tell you who's eligible, you can see it's very open on the world as well. But as to eligibility for funding, we have stricter rules. So only organizations coming from member states or associated countries are eligible for funding. And if you're not an EU country, you can only be eligible if you have if you're a low or middle income country. And then there are some very specific cases. It may be that the organizations of the US, Canada, Korea, or Japan may benefit from funds if and only if it is indicated in the working program, because the Commission believes that we need the expertise from those specific countries to meet our goal as determined in the call. So those are the rules, and I think the intention is fairly clear. And if you need any extra details, it's always good to get in touch with the points of contact in order to get more information if you need it, to decrypt also the information that you do have. These are the different types of activities that are eligible for funding. So you have to know that Horizon Europe can be a program that funds only civilian applications. We do not fund military applications, and there are some fields of research that are excluded. So if you do research in genome, stem cells, embryos, and so on and so forth, there are some ethical considerations, and therefore those are excluded from the program. It's also only civilian programs, as I said, and in Pillar 2 it's mostly innovation and research, and in coordination and support as well. And yes, so market deployment actions as well with the third pillar in the field of innovation. Then there's also training and mobility actions, TMA, that's in the first pillar. Those would be the main ones. And we also have spoken about what's at stake in terms of public tenders for innovative solutions, or public tenders, so pre-commercial market call for tenders, public tenders, and that's also part of that pillar of the program. Regarding the funding rates, you can see that most of our activities are funded 100%, which means that the program is very, very attractive, and therefore it's also very competitive. So 70%. So for innovation action, they can be funded up to 70%. And then there's a difference also depending on whether you're an organization with or without, whether you are a for-profit or a non-profit. And again, based on the working program, you may also have some specific conditions to fulfill. So I didn't want to show you this one, but it is still interesting to see the relationships. We're talking about a program that stimulates international collaboration. You have Brussels at the center, and then all the links that have been developed during the previous Horizon 2020 program. And that just gives you an idea of the scope and how much you can get. It's a very small region, Brussels, but more than 1 billion euros have been allocated over the past 7 years. It's a very competitive environment. As I said, the general success rate is about 12%, so it's not huge, I know. But it's worth it. If you do get it, you don't always succeed on your first try, and this is also why the points of contact have been implemented and supported by the European Commission. The idea being to train the points of contact and to make sure that they are in turn able to really broadcast the right information to stimulate and encourage those who might be interested and those who defend high quality projects. The projects once submitted are assessed by independent experts, and it's a process that takes about 5 months, and all projects are then assessed based on their impact, their excellence, and also the implementation quality. But mostly impact and excellence are the most important criteria for this assessment. So you really have to be the best of the best. I also wanted to give you some examples here of projects that are dedicated to AI within the framework of Horizon 2020. This is here but a small sample. If you go to the Cordis website, which is the European database that covers the data from the previous projects, you can go all the way up to the 7th framework project and have a look. Really in that search engine, you can just enter AI and find a whole array of projects. And I have only a couple here, but you can see really that you have very diverse projects. Here we have, during the week, we focused on healthcare applications for AI, and you can see here a couple of examples. We've had lots of examples, in fact, that are dedicated with projects dedicated to, for example, the fight against cancer, the fight against COVID, telemedicine in general, and also within the framework of security, climate, etc. So you can find all of those projects on that website, cordis.europe.eu. And the point of contact, so I here represent Brussels, but we do have points of contact in every country in the world, pretty much. Member states, associated countries, and third-party countries as well. And you can find all that on the European Commission portal. Here in Brussels, we cover nearly all pillars, apart from in the first program, the ERC and the maricuri action. So we're very, very happy to have Pascale with us today, because she will be able to give you more information about the first pillar. We are a team in Brussels with 9 points of contact, with 12 different functions, so different specialties as well, in all the clusters of the second pillar. And we have an NCP for EIC. So if the previous presentation struck you as very interesting, if you have ideas that you want to submit for the Pathfinder, the Accelerator, or the Transition, there is one person who's dedicated to that in Brussels, and we have several in the countries as well as in other countries, you know, people who are available to give you guidance and information to make sure that your proposal can be as successful as it possibly can be, and so that you can meet the quality criteria. There we go. So we are here to support any and all project bearer, and in Brussels we have all the different types of actors and stakeholders. You can be a researcher in a university, you can be an academic, you can be working in a private research center, you can be a public authority, local authority, regional authority, you can be a school, high school. You can be a company, a large company, a startup, or an SME. We really help everyone, and all the different parts of the program that are within our scope of activity are available from, you know, identifying opportunities onward. So if you believe that you're a good fit, do come to us with your center of interest, explain why you're innovative, explain why you have a role to play, explain what type of partnership you're looking for, what type of consortia as well. And we're really here to help you create your proposal and submit it. And yes, if you're lucky enough to be selected for funding, we'll be there to help you out during the project as well, if you ever need some help to understand the reporting rules, etc., because there are many, of course, and the cycle can go on and on until, you know, the project exploitation and the emergence of new ideas, where we can help you and support you again for yet another support cycle.
So here is the Brussels team, and I'm sure that there are in the audience some people who are based here in Brussels. So you can see that for the third and the second and third pillar, we have people in charge. We have 5 NCP systems in Brussels because of the responsibilities distribution. So here are the contact points for the various NCPs. I think that Marie Timmerman is responsible for the Digital Europe program in Wallonia, and for France, these are the different contact points for the digital centers. And you have the email address of our French PCN colleagues. These are a few useful links if you'd like to look at the various calls for projects, if you'd like to know more about the next call for project or the previous ones. You can go on the portal, and there are several databases where you will be able to find former projects, so you can get ideas of what has been done. And I now give the floor to Marion.
Bonjour à tous. Donc, je suis Marion.
Good afternoon. My name is Marion Perrin. I am the contact point for Cluster 4. Industry, digital, and space are my areas of specialty. So I will be presenting to you some of the calls for projects that deal with AI. Now, a few words about Cluster 4. Cluster 4 is the part of the program that aims at ensuring industrial competitiveness and facing worldwide future challenges by strengthening technological sovereignty as well as scientific, technological, industrial capacities in key domains on which the transformation of our economy are based. So in the work program, these are called destinations, and you can see the different destinations that I will go through individually. Destination 1, climate neutral, circular, and digitized production. You can see the summary of the destination and its aims, and you can see an example of call for project topic for 2022. The deadline is just in a few weeks' time, which means that you cannot apply for this call at the moment. But the aim was just to give you an idea of the cluster. ICT innovation for manufacturing SMEs aims to support manufacturing SMEs and mid-caps in adopting the latest innovative digital technologies. Now, if you're interested in applying, you can go on the website. This is just an appealing sentence, but you can get in contact with us if you need us to guide you. Then destination 2, increased autonomy in key strategic value chains for a resilient industry. This sentence is there to tell you more about the topic and the objectives of 2020. Again, a very close deadline. And you can read the title, Optimize Industrial Systems and Lines Through Digitalization, with some words of description. I forgot to say that Horizon Europe is divided into 2-year work programs. Currently, we are working on the program for 2021 and 2022. The Commission is working and on the verge of validating programs for 2023 and 2024, on which we have no visibility. So I'm just focusing on 2022, but we will very shortly have information about the forthcoming years. Next destination, world-leading data and computing technologies. And, well, you can read what the topic is all about, and the deadline is April 5th. So the first topic deals with cognitive cloud, and the other one with technologies and solutions for data trading. So this is the major destination of the cluster. There are many topics. For 2022, there will no longer be any call for projects for AI, except for AI data and robotics. Fifth destination on space data. This is also another major destination. The topic is not open yet. The call for projects will be opened in the forthcoming months. The deadline will be in the fall of 2022, so you still have time to apply for this large-scale Copernicus data uptake with AI and HPC. It is a project led in cooperation with Copernicus. Feel free to get in contact for more information. And then the last destination, a human-centered and ethical development of digital and industrial technologies. 2 topics. The first deadline is on November 16. It aims at developing excellence network in artificial intelligence. And then the second topic, which is quite interesting, AI for human empowerment. This is a research and innovation action with a deadline further down in the timeline. I think that 3 projects of 4 million euros will be funded. As I said, this is just for your information, and you will be able to find out more on the webpage. So this is what Cluster 4 of 2022 holds for you. Now, just a few words about the other call for projects in the other clusters. Cluster 1, Health. Cluster 2, Culture, Creativity, Inclusive Society. Cluster 3, Civil Security for Society, Climate, Energy, is Cluster 5. Let's start with Cluster 3. There are more opportunities for AI in this cluster. You can see the objectives, the destinations. All the call for projects for AI are clustered in Destination 1 and Destination 4. So here the idea is to better protect the EU citizens from crime and threats. So 2 projects of 5 million euros will be funded. We have a total budget of 10 million euros. Now you can see what this project is all about by reading what's on the slide. Then Cluster 1, Health. In 2022, there will be this sole call for a project dedicated to cybersecurity for medical devices. Cluster 2, Culture, Creativity, Inclusive Society. The deadline is April 20th. And the subject is very interesting. Artificial intelligence, big data, and democracy. More to come in the future on the same topic. Cluster 5. And I'd like to introduce you to 3 calls. Here the deadline is quite close, but there are 2 others. One whose deadline is October 27th. It deals with renewable energy. 3 million euros will be dedicated to each project. And then the last one. This is quite surprising.
On a une deadline en 2023.
And the deadline is in 2023, which means that you have a lot of time to get prepared. It has to do with the development of digital solutions for existing hydropower operation and maintenance. You can see that the budget is included between 3 and 4 million euros. Then last cluster, not much was dedicated to artificial intelligence this year. More to come in the future. And well, you can see the topic, observing and mapping biodiversity and ecosystems. So this was the overview that I wanted to give to you. As I'm also contact point for Digital Europe program, a new funding program by the European Commission to fund digital transition. So if you have questions, feel free to get in contact. And I now give the floor to Pascale.
Je ne sais pas combien de temps il me reste. Le bouton, c'est lequel? C'est celui-là. Ok, donc on fait le tout en marche arrière là puisqu'on va remonter.
Now let's move backwards to Pillar 1, dedicated to scientific excellence and to fundamental science. I'm very happy to be here today and to represent the PFU. I think there are a few French connationals in the room. My background is in chemistry, so not in artificial intelligence, but I discovered and learned a lot this morning about artificial intelligence. So this is the 3-pillar structure of the scientific excellence pillar, and you can see that Pillar 1 has a budget of 25 billion euros. So science and science excellence is funded. There's of course not enough money, but there is money and funds dedicated to this topic. Now, what are the infrastructures in this pillar? There are 2 major blocks, ERC and Marie Curie. I've tried to show you the various infrastructures. Now, infrastructures are topic or technological communities that submit projects. They act as a network, and usually these networks are digital networks. And as you can see on the page, the idea is to develop infrastructures. This was done with Horizon 2020, and with Horizon Europe, there is a specific axis to strengthen innovation and to support European policy making. Now, as far as Marie Curie is concerned, Marie Curie is dedicated to the training of young researchers. It is about acquiring knowledge and skills. It is about promoting mobility in Europe, but also beyond Europe, to promote mobility for students. It is also about promoting cross-border cooperation. ERC is dedicated to more experienced or more seasoned researchers. So don't hesitate to apply at an early stage for this grant. This grant does not have to do with training. It has to do with research projects, and the main criteria, of course, is scientific excellence. I would say a few more words about scientific excellence later on, but it is also open to all types of disciplines. Any idea, any project is relevant. Life sciences, math, we are open to any kind of scientific projects. So these are research infrastructures. Very often communities are clustered around equipment or digital facilities, cognitive resources, libraries, collections. Virtual infrastructures are included as well. And with Horizon Europe, we will focus on the main challenges that have been identified by the European Commission, the Green Deal, Digital Europe. Now, I'm not an expert in infrastructures, but you can see here the contact point for infrastructures in France and our colleagues in Brussels that you already know, and Europe for citizens. Now, a few words about Marie Curie. Marie Curie actions are focused on young people who attend universities, and there are several profiles of grants. There are the doctoral networks, the previous ITN. These are networks of PhD students that offer cooperation opportunities on some topics. Then there are individual grants or European fellowships, as well as global fellowships if PhD students are eager to cross the European borders. Then there are also staff exchanges and the cofund. The cofund offers partners the possibility to receive European money to organize PhD training or post-PhD trainings. And then there are the actions to the general public. The night of the researchers are organized on a yearly basis and are funded by European money. Now, I was talking about fundamental research projects. However, we are also open to companies and to the industry. The idea being to build bridge between the industry and the universities. Now, as you can see here, and I'm very sorry, but it may not be easy to read. However, this is the name of the Marie Curie contact point, and you can, of course, receive this presentation if you'd like to get the contact point details. So these were the award-winning projects of 2019. The first award-winning project is a cofund project, born by PSL. PSL is a Paris university. They signed a contract with the European Commission, and they've received money to finance 20 PhD modules, training modules on artificial intelligence. Then the second award-winning project is a consortium of countries. It is a large consortium, and the aim is to mentor, to train young PhD students on artificial intelligence concerns. And then the last award-winning project dates back to the end of 2019. The report was drafted in 2020, and there is at the end of the report a list of projects, the list of projects that was used to draft the report. Now let me come to the ERC calls for project, and this is my area of specialty in a way. Now, ERC stands for European Research Council. It is quite a very peculiar organization that this council is quite autonomous in the way it manages its program. The structure was set up back in 2007 by scientists who were staunch defenders of fundamental research. Now the network broadened and grew, and it is now recognized on the international level. And here the work programs are quite repetitive. Now the work programs are usually quite similar from one year to the next. So we are now working on the 2022 work program, and the program for 2023 will be ready shortly. Now you have here a snapshot of the ERC homepage, and when navigating through the website, you will be able to find a wide array of information, as well as videos that are useful for any of you that who are potential applicants. Now, what is my own vision of ERC? I think that when it comes to Horizon Europe, you have first and foremost to understand the philosophy of the program before you apply for it, because each program has specific criteria that you need to meet, and requirements that you need to meet. And the ERC is quite special. It is a scientific project that we can label as being individual, and of course the project head is not alone, but he or she is the backbone of the project. Now the project leader is usually a researcher who has to demonstrate that he or she is autonomous and able to lead a project. But what matters is the idea. So one needs to have a disruptive and scientific idea, a breakthrough idea at at the borders of knowledge. So the idea is to bring something new, something that has never been done before by others. So you will see that the amount of money is quite substantial. So the idea has to be disruptive, new, and then the idea of and the principle of the high risk, high gain. Now, you have to show that you are determined to advance on the project. You have to be able to sell this project to convince the stakeholders that it will be successful. Now, of course, a researcher has his or her background, his or her experience, and the ERC is there to shape the project so that within 5 years it becomes autonomous and successful. There are 5 types of grants. Now, individual projects are not truly individuals. They are what we call the individual grants, starting, consolidator, and advanced. Now, starting are dedicated to researchers who have 2 to 7 years of experience, consolidator to researcher with 8 to 12 years of experience, and then advanced is dedicated to senior researchers. And more recently, we have also a project dedicated to 4 researchers eager to lead a more ambitious project and who need to work in team. And, well, this is not something that was mentioned before. The proof of concept build in a way the bridge with the ERC and the ERC is very careful about enhancing the project's results. Now, just a few examples of AI projects. There are many ERC grants on dedicated to AI, and you can see that these are just a few examples of our ERC stories. So I think I will need to close this presentation very soon, which means that I will need to speed up a little bit. Now you can see on the right side of the page a reference to the Cordis website. On the ERC, you will not find an exhaustive description of all the projects, but these projects are listed on the Cordis website. And on the Cordis website, you can also find and access a database or a data hub with a mine of information. And from these are the AI projects carried out between 2014 and 2023, the project names, the project locations, and then on the right side of the page, the whole list of projects. So in the AI field, there is a lot going on and many funded projects. Now, very quickly about the PCN networks in France. The French PCN is organized slightly differently from the Belgian PCN, and of course, the European institutions are also supporting our national contact points. So you can see the type of activities that we do in our national contact points. And in red, you can see the contact point of Pillar 1, as well as the contact details of Isabelle de Sutter. And these are just some snapshots of a few pages, and this is the end of my presentation.